Yo, what's happening? I finally started on time. This is episode 20. Yeah, I actually got episode 20 of the Amaury Love Podcast. All right, so as y'all know, brand new day drop. so this episode is for the most part going to be geared toward that, bruh. Bruh, the movie is phenomenal, bruh. Oh my God. And it's funny because in my life right now, that's why like even on the tape, I have a song called Brand New Day. It was clearly inspired by the title of the Spider-Man movie. It's actually a sequel track to a song called that I had on the Love tape called No Way Home, which obviously is based on, titled after the Spider-Man movie. So I kind of got like a Spider-Man movie theme going on with some songs or whatever. But bruh, the movie is so good. It's so good, so good. I can't wait to talk about it. We gonna get to that, right? Cause, man, there's a lot of Marvel shit that happened this week, and I low key, I'm like, damn, I'm excited to low key talk about this. You know what I mean? Like, this is gonna be fire. But I definitely need to share with y'all like my week, cause bruh, when I tell you, shit been kind of crazy. Like for real. I'm in a space. All right, so I'm, this is my little platform, so I get to be transparent with y'all. So if you tapped in or watching me, you gotta fuck with me to some extent, and I'm learning how to be vulnerable for the most part. Like it's a little different too, cause like I had a conversation. It was funny. I had a conversation with my mom and a homegirl of mine about necessarily the same thing, cause like, and y'all might see me out here and I'm, you know what I mean, like, all good and shit like that. Like, oh yeah, I'm in a good space and I'm happy and this, that, and the third. But I've been going through it for real. I damn near had a breakdown on Tuesday, bruh, because I was just frustrated. I was frustrated because like I'm in a space in my life right now where I'm doing my best to improve to be a man, and I'm doing what I think I should be doing, which doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right thing to do, right? So, for instance, I shared with you guys last time that, I started the process and enrolling in school and this, that, and the third, and I initially had a way to go about it, right? And my therapist had gave me a suggestion. Now, instead of me kind of like asking questions and planning it out accordingly, like I always do, the Naruto and me, let me run head first. Fuck it, let's get everything done now. Cause I'm thinking, all right, cool. The faster I start, the faster I can finish, right? And so boom, I go through the whole process, bruh. Cause all right, like I told y'all, I'm finna go back to school for I about to say respiratory therapist. I'm a dog doing. I'm about to go back to school for radiology, right? Which I think is a dope. There's a piece of me that's like, man, I'm just trying to work 3 days, have 4 days off. Now, granted, I'm in Puerto Rico, so what someone could get paid in like California or New York or Miami is not the same over here as a radiologist. You damn near make the same amount of money as a supervisor at a hotel than you get paid in the medical field over here. But I do want to go back to school. I do want to increase my education. And if I decide to move back, like if I go back home or whatever decide I go to, then I'd have something in the pocket that I could, work, and it's something of importance. You get what I'm saying? It's not a thing where it's like, which again, I'm in the post office now. Thank God, because I didn't even realize the post office over here is like being a goddamn, I don't even know how to describe it, but the pay rate over here is just horrible. Granted, the cost of living here is not that bad either, but it's all balanced, right? It's kind of like how in other spaces out, like my homegirl was explaining to me, like I guess like as a nurse in New York or some shit like that, she could get paid X amount, but then the price of living is high as well. So like you got to take all those things into account. Anyways, right? That's neither here nor there. I go through the whole process. Hold on, let me cover my ID. I go and get my fucking ID. This shit ugly as fuck. Look at my face. You can tell something was going on. And yeah, Amaury is my middle name. That's like my name is Jose Amaury Quinones. I go through the whole process, whatever, right? So, mind you, we ain't have no conversations about like how much shit gonna cost and stuff, right? So I'm thinking like, all right, cool, whatever. Like, Cause I remember going to Miami-Dade Community College. Granted, bro, now I think about it, man. Like, bro, it's been such a long time. How do you not think shit is not gonna be crazy expensive? So, so I go to Miami, whatever. I go, and it's weird too, bro. I ain't been to college in a minute, bro. And I should have seen the sign. God be giving me the signs, and my dumb ass don't be actually paying attention to it. Well, that's not true. But since I quit smoking, since I'm not like, I don't really drink or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Unless I go to a movie theater and I get my little mojito, my coconut mojito. I was watching Brand New Day on a mojito. Man, that shit good as fuck. But I'm not really a drinker like that. So I don't really indulge in whatever. And then I don't have nothing. I've been, I guess, purging this shit. Because, like, it's funny. And I know I'm kind of bouncing, but I'm going to get to that, right? Since I quit smoking, I thought, damn, my fucking, this, what's it called? Withdrawals is crazy. Nah, bruh. It's not necessarily withdrawals, bruh. You've been so used to being high all the time that that emotional part of you, that passion part of you has been suppressed for such a long time. So I'm saying how I get triggered easy, bruh. I get triggered so fucking easy. And it's not about shit that's not important. I'm not really stressing. But when it has to do with me and the shit that I care about, oh my God, bruh. That shit just like, And I'll tell you how I went through my little fucking, my little breakdown bullshit in just a moment or whatever. But, so boom, I'm going through the whole, like, whatever, I go. So I'm thinking it's like some shit like, all right, I just got to select my classes. Like, all right, cool. So for me to select certain classes, I got to go to different offices and shit. This shit really felt like gridlock, right? And I remember calling, because before I had to get accepted because my initial reason for going into this specific college, right, was to, all right, let me take my damn, what's the word, let me take the classes that are not associated with radiology but that I still need to take now, so once I get into the actual radiology school, then I could kind of be ahead, right? Because I'm like, damn, the shit started in January, but they was explaining to me that chances are you're really going to start in the fall of 2027, right? Which, in retrospect now, makes way more sense because it gives me way more than enough time to apply for scholarship grants. I used to have ESC classes, so I have something called an IEP, right? I didn't know that they compensate you in different types of ways as well because I'm like, bro, I graduated high school in 2008. So I'm like, does that even count? But me and Google Gemini over here, you know what I'm saying? I'm using Google Gemini like the fucking AI that Spider-Man has in his mask. I'm over here like, hey, so wait, but if I have this, can we do this? Is this going to work? How can I apply for this? Woo, woo. So I'm just getting all the information. And then apparently there is a program here in Puerto Rico that if I give them my IEP, they'll be able to, potentially help me with funding and all this type of shit, whatever. So anyways, right? So I'm going through so the goal was, all right, let me get into this school now, take these classes now, start now. And then, you know what I'm saying? Mind you, y'all know I work at the post office. This week being a little slow, but regularly anywhere between 45 to 55 hours, 60 max hours a week, right? I have a random day off throughout the week, and it's not scheduled. It's based on availability. Or sometimes we don't have a day off in the week. They're like, nah, you just got to come in. We ain't got enough people. Everybody called, the regulars, people that been in there for years, they know how to play the system. They gonna call out on the days it was hella packed, and then the worst route got to go to the, someone like me because I'm a CCA. So then they got, you know what I'm saying? Like they'll keep us. All the regulars go home at 5 o'clock. They're not trying to give them overtime because they get paid some crazy ass amount anyway. So they rather, instead of them getting some, they overtime pay, which it would make their pay rate crazy as fuck, they rather give it to the CCAs because we at the lowest tier. Anyway, I'm not taking none of this to account. I'm just like, I'll figure it out. So, boom, I go. So I have to go to these different offices or different people for specific classes. I'm like, bro, I'm just trying to take English, Spanish, and a computer class because that's what I need, right? I do have my transcripts from when I went to the art school, but some of the classes that I took, they got nothing to do with fucking radiology. Outside of physics and what else I had? Let me see. Another day, Compton, it touches the sky. Oh man, I wanted that song from the Compton album. That should have been in my head. There's somebody watching, and I don't know what. Hold on. Where the fuck is my transcript, bro? No, that's some other shit. Yeah, my goddamn. See, this is. Oh shit! I'm like, how can I show without like showing like my address or some shit? Well, it's not my old address, but see, look, I got my little transcript shit. Damn, can y'all see that? All right, boom. This is what I was taking. I had like music theory, audio, blah blah blah, acoustics, all this type of shit. As you can see, that 2.3. Actually, no, my GPA was what? No, my GPA was 2.0. Shit was trash. Especially that. The music theory, I took that bitch like 3 times. He kept failing everybody. That's a whole nother conversation for another day. I probably mentioned it to y'all before, but anyways. So they got to send, like, you know, on Gridlock, they had Pac and the dude had to go to all these different places and like, oh, you know, if you're trying to get into this, you got to go here. And then they keep getting run around. So that's how I felt in there, right? Even calling to get accepted, right? I had to send an email. I sent an email, I didn't hear nothing. I'm calling people. They was bouncing me from person to person. And I was getting frustrated because I recognized that the moment I could speak Spanish, right? But cuando alguien me hablar en español, they hear my tone and immediately they just like, oh, gringo. And it's funny because like gringo in like Miami or some shit means like white boy or whatever, right? But in Puerto Rico, it just means you don't speak Spanish. Like it's not a color thing. So I'm over here like talking. I'm like, yo, I'm trying to, I'm trying to explain, right? And like they just kept passing me around. I remember I get frustrated, like, yo, like I'm trying to go into y'all, like y'all keep bouncing me. No one's trying to help me. I just need whatever. So when I end up getting the email, that was sign 1, right? That was sign 1, because there's a difference. I believe when something's for you, you do got to put effort into it and you got to put action, right? But when you keep getting them roadblocks, I feel like that's God like, hey, I'm telling you, stop. I feel like a third time, all right, go ahead. Go be stupid. I just gave 3 signs. You didn't want to listen. Now, all right, go ahead. That's how I felt that's how I felt I was going at the thing or whatever. So, boom. I go ahead and whatever. They send me the email. Cool, you may set to go get your ID, boo, which I just showed y'all. Right? After I go get my ID, I had to go to some other office, and it fucked me up because I had therapy that same day, and it was either I go get these classes in, right, or I go to my therapy session. And I was trying to text my therapist like, yo, can we reschedule for later in the day? You free? And I had to wait. Now I gotta wait till Thursday, so I didn't even get to go to my therapy session this week. So all right, we go ahead and have a conversation. I mean, I go ahead into the office, and then they tell me, okay, for you to select classes, you got to go to the 6th floor and talk to whoever. I go up there, and for specific class, like for my English and Spanish class, I got to sit this talk to one person, and then to go take computers, I got to talk to someone completely different. And mind you, because I'm entering the school, they call it a special student, meaning I'll be taking classes at that school, but I don't plan on graduating. So I'll literally be taking classes just to get a transcript from them, and then I could take it to UCC's, which is where I'm going to actually be doing the radiology program and stuff in. So, which again, it's going to be better for me to take it in the fall of 2027 instead of January, but that's all, I'll get to that in a moment. I'm warming up, man. We're going to get there in a second. So I do all this extra shit, right? Go ahead, and I'm talking, and again, like the frustration I have from trying to communicate was irritating. I felt like a child, right? It's because I go to LA, I'm like, yeah, I'm here because, and granted, I'm saying all this shit in this broken ass Spanish. I'm like, I'm here because I gotta select my classes, and they send me to come to the 6th floor, this and the 3rd, and the lady's like, yeah, turn around, it's right there. Man, I turn around to read the goddamn paper, you know what I'm saying, and I felt like I was looking at fucking metal nature hieroglyphs. Like, I'm like, yo, I can't, like, I could read this shit, but I gotta, like, I'm like, I don't even know what I'm looking at. I can't understand nothing. So I was like, man, I'm not gonna hold you. I don't really know. Like, I need help. I need help. And like the attitudes, bro. Like I'm just like, whoa, what's up with y'all? Like y'all, I feel like no one here really trying to help me. That shit was frustrating, bro. That shit was frustrating. It was one of the little pretty girls behind the desk. She ended up like, you know what I'm saying, helping me out or whatever, right? So then, anyways, they tell me, all right, cool, you gotta take 2 classes online and you gotta take 1 class on, you know, at the campus. And I was actually hoping to take all my classes on the campus because I feel like I like to physically be, like, for me to learn, I want to be physically present. I want to hear the professor speak. I want to be able to ask questions in real time. I don't want to take no online classes. I don't feel like that works for me. And maybe it's my generation because I'm probably the people younger than me. I'm 36, bro. I'm a grown ass man. I'm not, and I, you know what I'm saying, I went to school in the 90s and the 2000s, bro, when technology was still not where it's at right now. I need to sit my ass down and listen to the teacher because I'm great at listening. I could hear, you know what I'm saying? Listening is how I learn, right? Hands on. But, I mean, I feel like I could adapt, but sitting in a computer or having to do it on my own time, I need to be there. So anyways, I'm like, all right, whatever. This is what I got to do. Fuck it. And then kind of at the moment, it's convenient because I'm just going to take class on Thursdays. Thursdays are slow day at the post office. I know they'll keep giving me that day off because I already spoke to one of my supervisors. He's like, yeah, we'll work with you. You're going back into school. Just vibe. So, boom, I go downstairs. Then I got to go downstairs, speak to somebody. I'm like, so y'all write all this shit on paper? Yeah, I have to talk to y'all to write the shit, the class on paper, and then go to somebody else to put it in the system? Like, why the fuck? I don't understand why none of all this stuff is not consolidated. That feels like it's a lot of extra work, but whatever. I mean, I ain't in control of how shit works, so that got nothing to do with me. So I go downstairs. That's when I'm texting my therapist, like, I'm not gonna make it because I gotta be there at 12, and it's like 11:50, and I got like 15 people in front of me. That shit dead. I ain't gonna be able to make it. So I go. I talk to the lady who's putting the classes in the system, and she's like, yeah. And then I ain't gonna lie, for a second I was excited because the English class, that's gonna be easy. We speak English, nothing, second nature. Spanish class I know it's gonna be challenging, but at least I'm like, all right, cool. I'll take the Spanish class. I'll refresh on my Spanish. I could, kind of force myself to read and write it better. So that's actually something I need to learn, right? But it was like Spanish/poetry, and I know I've been going to the poetry spot 3 weeks in a row. I'm gonna be there this Tuesday again. I love, like, I'm kind of getting off my verses that I've written in the that I've wrote for like the tape, or like even like verses from like, I try to take my verses that's kind of been kind of poetic and try to make it in a poetry way. I have been writing a little bit of poetry. I wrote one, but I'm like, I don't know if I'm comfortable with this. I was being real hella vulnerable and transparent on this one. So let me do something a little more that I'll be more comfortable with. Cause I still, like, even my mannerisms and shit, like, I still getting used to it. But it's ill because I like that environment, and I feel like everybody there is kind of like doing their thing and really like supportive. So it's ill to be in like that artist support system around. Cause it's been a minute since I've been in a space like that. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. So I see the Spanish class was like Spanish poetry type thing. I'm like, oh shit, this is kind of ill. It might be a little difficult, but we'll get there. So, man, that lady showed me the paper, how much everything will cost. That bill like $2,600, and I'm thinking like, oh hell no, how the fuck am I gonna pay this shit? I'm thinking, oh, they got payment plans. So I'm thinking the payment plan, like when I think of payment plans, I don't know, I'm thinking it was some shit that go stretch out. Nah, bro, that bitch was still hell of expensive to do, and I'm not in a position right now because right now I have to technically I have till January to get everything together so I could find my place or whatnot, right? Because I was speaking to my uncle. I was like, yo, Unc, and I'll get to where my breakdown came from. Because, like, I'm looking at this paper, and I'm like, fuck, bro, like, I'm like, whatever, I'm going to have to figure it out. And I'm just, like, calculating stuff in my head. I'm like, all right, cool, if I, all right, cool, well, this check, I'll be able to pull this out, and then I'll be able to pay this by this time. Well, the first payment is September. Such as I could be able to have this. I bet I'll be able to take this in. Like, I'm already, like, kind of, like, going through everything in my head or whatnot. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I sign up. Boom. So first thing I do, I get to the parking lot. I call my old girl. I'm like, mama, I ain't gonna hold you. This shit is expensive. And then the first thing she goes, she's like, why are you trying to, like, why don't you just wait? And then I'm like, no, I don't want to wait now because y'all, if I wait, then I'm gonna procrastinate. Then I'm not gonna do it. This and the third. Woo, woo. And like, I kind of wasn't trying to hit her. The Taurus in me was fixated and stubborn in a motherfucker. I wasn't trying to hit my mom. But I'm like, Mom, look, I know I gotta do this. She's like, baby, you know you're not gonna, like, you know you have to move out in October. Why are you're forcing everything right now? And I'm like, no, I know I could do it. This and the third, whatever. I still felt a little the stress, but I'm like, all right, whatever. So then I come, whatever. Then my auntie texted me some shit that had nothing to do with my auntie texted me shit that got nothing to do with nothing, but me and her going a little back and forth because she sent me something I didn't want to hear. Now, mind you, this is a side note, right? This kind of makes me think too about kind of the stuff I want to be talking about on my pod, because like I recognize that, like, you know, I've been talking about everything. I'm talking about hip hop, I'm talking about nerd shit, I'm talking about whatever, spirituality, whatever. I don't even know what my niche is yet. I might lean into the nerd shit a little more because I feel like it's a lot talk, you know what I'm saying, and just like retro shit that I kind of fuck with from back in the day, like, you know, old video games and stuff and the third. But even I would live stream more video game content with y'all, but my technology or my internet is not sufficient at this point. Because I was trying to stream the Dragon Ball Z goddamn brand new DLC, and that shit just, it wasn't working. I'm like, all right, nah, I'm not even gonna force it. So once I move and, you know, kind of get my little setup or whatever and upgrade my technology, I'll be able to do more like dope shit like that with y'all. For now, you know, I'm kind of doing a little both, you know what I mean? Kind of, because I think also, like, there's so many other, like, especially the YouTubes that I follow and shit like that, you know, it's way better than talking about stuff that's relevant and things that the third. I don't want to take up oxygen in that space because I feel like the novice person in me, or like the you know what I'm saying, like, I ain't gonna be able to articulate and give that, and I'm not. And at this point, because I recognize the limitations that I have, right? I kind of gotta walk my way into it. So I'm actually grateful that I even got into like a 20th episode. You know what I mean? Every week I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna talk about? And then whatever, you know what I'm saying? Thank God for just shit that happens and things that I find interesting. And even though, like, you know, even Amaury Love, right, which is me, but that's just the artist, right? I just want to talk about shit that I love. You know what I mean? I don't think I'm not the voice to talk about political shit, and I'm not the voice to talk about, you know, because I don't think I even have the wherewithal to properly articulate myself and be able to share my thoughts in a constructive way where people could absorb that and get something from it. You know what I mean? But I know how to show love. You know what I'm saying? That's my thing. I've always been the optimistic, positive person or whatever, especially in my circle and friend group. Happy face. So that's something that's easy for me because it comes from a real place. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've never been like a fucking hater. I don't even like wasting my thoughts. But anyways, this goes to what I was just saying with my aunt. She sent me something, and it was like something I just didn't want to see. I was like, Auntie, nah, I'm good. Like, I appreciate whatever, but like I can't hear this for whatever, you know, whatever I explained to her. I won't go into nuances of that because that's me and her conversation. But she sent me this long ass paragraph back, and she's like, I'm worried about you, nephew. Woo. And it just frustrated me. Again, I won't go to like the specifics of the conversation, but it frustrated me because, like, I'm really doing my best. I'm doing my absolute best. Like, I'm doing the best that I actually can right now, right? Or in what I know. And when people don't know the specific things that I'm dealing with on like a regular basis, even like my mental health, like on here, it's funny because I'm on here again. You see me smiling, now y'all don't see what I deal with. I'm alone in my thoughts on an island by myself for the most part. Yes, I got my auntie. Well, my auntie they went back to Hollywood, Florida, but I got my uncle stuff here. But you know, but I'm relatively by myself all the time, and I'm working constantly. So there's a frustration that comes with that, where I just feel like I'm working. I'm not really having too much fun because I recognize that there are things that I have to get done now, and I'm not asking for an applaud or nothing like that either, because it's like I'm a man, so you know this is what comes with the territory. You can't, you know, just because you're not supposed to get applause and claps for doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're just supposed to do what you're doing. But there is a piece of me that gets frustrated because it's like, damn, I'm working really hard. I'm doing what I can. And then motherfucker got the audacity to goddamn question what I'm doing. Like, what? Like, so, anyways, right? So, and then the initial thing the point that I was actually trying to make before we went into that whole thing of conversation, when she sent me that, I was really trying to explain to her, like, auntie, like, right now I'm being very cognitive of what I choose to digest, right? And that's just not food. That's what I watch, what I listen to, what I'm, being around. I recognize that all these things affect me. And since, again, I was leaning on smoking for a long ass time. Because I was leaning into that, it was easy for me to just, like, I'm not even worried. Now I feel like shit just, it just hit me. It hit me a little different. So I'm like, nah, I just got to be mindful of what I absorb and what I watch. Like, I don't want to hear bullshit or, like, even certain things. Like, I see there's certain things now I won't even, like, there's certain things I'm just not going to watch. Because I feel like it's going to make me think about things I shouldn't even be thinking about, if that makes sense, right? Or, like, stuff that's not really my business. Like, that's not my business. Why should I be watching something that, or them talking about some, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like gossip. I don't like, so you know how they got these channels by these white dudes that they be doing all these criminal investigation breakdowns and putting, like, people living real lives. And then the internet's so fucked up that the lie be more entertaining than the reality of it, and people would galvanize around the lie and keep pushing fucking propaganda and all this type of stuff. But then what happens is I'm wasting thoughts thinking about that. Know what I mean? And I don't think that's healthy mentally for me, at least. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like people are talking about it's not like people are talking about stuff that's constructive, and I'm not saying that because the shit that I watch be fucking fire. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit, Effect Immediately just got their 100th episode. That shit was fucking amazing. It was dope because it was like a 2-hour episode. And I was like, oh, this is lit. And they had, like, you know what I'm saying, artists and stuff there came through and, like, Sway and all that shit. I thought it was fucking fire. But I can see how my YouTube algorithm, if I'm watching certain things, it'll start populating other stuff too for me to watch. And I'm like, nah, and I'm quick to hit that not interested button. If motherfuckers talking about bullshit or some, like, negative stuff, like, I'm not gonna tap in. You know what I'm saying? I can't, like, for me, for my mind, I need to, I gotta fuck with what I fuck with. And especially, people that are talking about some real shit and stuff that's actually affecting people's lives and stuff like that, I want to tap into that. I don't know if it's my place to even talk about certain things like that, but I do want to be informed, and I do want to, support from a distance. You know what I'm saying? At least that's how I want to go about it. And then me in this, like, YouTube space, I think I'm still thinking about what's my niche, like, where do I could contribute in a dope way, where I could just do something that's cool, or whatever, like, be funny or whatever, like, even talking about power and shit like that. When me and Jazz got a little segment talking about power. Even though I'm still behind, I ain't finished season 2 yet. Y'all don't kill me, I promise. I'm gonna get there. I will get there. I will get there. This week, next week, we doing the season 2 wrap up. I'll probably, like, chop up the little segments I had of whatever me and Jazz talk, all of them, and just put in, like, one video, and then from there I could just kind of, like, do, because I think talk about movies and shit that I think is cool as fuck is kind of dope too. I like my insight because I used to watch something called The Angry Video Game Nerd and The Nostalgia Critic. That was, like, a couple of the first YouTube channels that I kind of, when I actually just, like, really got into YouTube, that's what I was watching. And I like how they do the little movie breakdowns and shit like that. And especially now that I kind of, like, not that I'm still not being creative, right, but I'm writing more, but I'm not, I haven't been recording stuff that much lately. And, I play around here making beats here and there, but I've kind of taken a step back just to kind of reset and, like, get my mind right, because I know I have an addictive personality. So once I'm locked in on something, I'll kind of push everything away. And that's kind of why when I first got to Puerto Rico, I was really focused on making the tape that I kind of was being irresponsible with some of the decisions that I was making and pushing things that I needed to, things that were immediate that I should have been prioritizing more. I was pushing it to the back end so I could just, do what I wanted to do. And in retrospect, I probably wouldn't have changed nothing, but I see how it affected me at this point, because I kind of could have been way ahead to where I wouldn't be stressing about the things that I'm stressing about now. But anyways, so boom, I had this little back and forth with my aunt. I'm kind of hot because that's my godmama. You feel me? So like, I don't even like arguing with her. It's funny. This is an intrusive thought. No one's gonna know what I'm talking about. But like, there's somebody that I had like a situationship with, and her and my auntie share the same sign, and I was like, I knew why we didn't fucking work, cause hers, I can't deal with the explosiveness of like, man, like we would not, cause I'm a Taurus, and an Aries, nah, bruh, that's my fucking that's my weakness and my kryptonite. They'd ought to just push a button, just click, 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 click. Yo, come on. I don't give a fuck about clicking that button. They'll click and just like, oh, all right, you just want me to be mad? All right, bet. My ex got a chuckle at that when I told her that shit. She started laughing. But so boom, I go to my uncle. I was like, Unc, man, I gotta holler at you real quick, man. And he's like, what's up? I brought up some other shit that my auntie had brought up. My uncle like, man, I don't give a fuck. Like, look, if you trying to woo, go ahead. But if not, then I ain't tripping on you. Have you heard me tell you anything? But I'm like, nah. But auntie said this, that, and the third, and I'm trying to woo. And I know you said I have till October. Look, can you just give me till January? Whatever. I'm over here talking, and I get to the point where I got so frustrated, I start crying. I got so frustrated, I started crying, bro. I'm like mad, cause I'm mad. Like I'm mad, cause I feel like I realized all the decisions that I made up to this point, I kind of fucked up. But I feel like no one is peeping game in real time what I'm experiencing or what I'm going through. So like I feel like it looked crazy from the outside in, right? Cause no one's asking me questions for real, or seeing how I'm actually feeling, or what I'm going through, or where I'm at mentally, or where I'm just, where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? Like, or what I'm trying to do. So like it's assumptions or I guess the what triggers me is when, and I'm sure people could relate, when you're in your process of growing and becoming a better person, people around you or people that know you, they'll try to look at you with the lens of the past, right? So when things are looking a certain way, they'll start talking about things that you used to be, or you like, no, I'm not the same person. Shit, I'm not the same person from yesterday. I grew today. You know what I mean? Every day's growth and progression. So you're looking at me from the lens of the past, thinking that I'm making these same type of decisions, and I'm not. And you know what I'm saying? And if someone doesn't take their time out to see, hey, what's up? Like, what's going on? Like, what you like? What's been going on? Like, you straight? Like, how's everything? Like, I see you ain't kind of been moving the way you've been moving, or you seem to be a little more reserved. Like, what's going on? Right? If no one's asking you these type of questions, or you feel like you don't have the space to, granted, now I'm grateful that I have certain outlets to be able to share me without feeling like, you know what I mean? That's why I got off social media too. That's even worse. I jumped off social media recently for one thing, and I remember jumping back in, and I scrolled like 3. I'm like, nah, bro, I can't, bro. The people pleaser in me is like, oh, I want to like and share, comment, and do that. Nah, bro, that's not, hell nah. Get the fuck off of that shit. You don't need it. You don't need it right now. It's okay, bro. Be regular. It's funny that I know the 26-year-old in me, bro, who the bright eyes is like, oh, I want to be the best rapper from Miami, and I wanna, you know what I'm saying, be mentioned with the greats and the Kendricks and the Coles and this, that, and the third. Like that 26-year-old, he was so present in the last 10 years of my life. And bro, like, nah, bro, I had to grow up, bro. You gotta grow up. You know what I mean? It's okay. It's okay that, it's funny because I have a passion project that I want to do now. Well, I have a couple passion projects. It's not like I'm gonna stop making music. I'm gonna eventually make music again, but I feel like the next music project I want it to be more meaningful, Even though I love my album, WVR the Stoke, man, I love it. Like, this is the first album that people like that I know still play songs from it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was funny to me when I was talking to my uncle, my auntie, like, yeah, we play The Worker all the time. For real? I don't know who listen to me. I don't even know if anyone know my lyrics. You know what I'm saying? I be thinking like I probably got like 5 people, whatever, that listen to my music or some shit like that. I don't think it's nothing crazy. I wish it was just, you know what I'm saying, but I don't know. I would have no idea who actually listens to anything I've ever done. But this is the first project that I feel like people actually go back to and listen or whatever. And again, it's a handful, but that's enough for me to be like, damn, I feel like I made something. But at the same time, it was almost kind of like my ode to like hip hop in a dope way. Cause even the album, and obviously the beginning of the first 11 fucking 12 podcast episodes was all based on explaining the tape and my story and blah 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 blah. But in short, that's, you know, everything is referencing something that I love or inspired by something that I love or fuck with. You know what I'm saying, new, old, or in between. But yeah, so I have a passion project, and now I'm asking my dad a lot of questions, because I'm like, yo, how is you living, bro? Like, and I'm trying to see, like, what's the, because I don't really know. It's funny, it's my dad. Like, it's not like my dad ain't been present, but I know when I was little, my old boy used to be gone a lot, because he used to always be on tour, because he came to Puerto Rico with working for this artist named Willie. He came to Miami because he got an opportunity to work with this artist named Willie Chidino, right? I don't know if my dad was doing background vocals or he's doing the trumpet. One of them two. My dad know how to play every instrument. He's a lot. I remember my dad, when I was going to Miami-Dade, they used to hire my dad to go play at Miami-Dade at the Latin jazz festivals and shit like that, when they used to have that Miami-Dade campus. So it's crazy, like, yo, my old boy got a gig, but I got class at 9 o'clock. And then they finna be playing at the Latin jazz fest. Like, my old boy's like low-key famous. But he never, I think my dad wasn't business minded, and I don't think my mom was. And not to say nothing, I'm not trying to. I love y'all parents. I know my mom be watching my podcast too. I love y'all. I ain't trying to say nothing about it. I wouldn't chase nothing, because I wouldn't be me and who I am if it wasn't for that, or any other decision I made, good, bad, or in between. But I've been asking my dad questions, and he was explaining to me, like, when he was, there's a lot of opportunities and that he was able to get privilege of, and he was able, but business wise, he got taken advantage of a lot. And like, there was just, you know what I'm saying? And again, I could only imagine, you got this black Puerto Rican man coming from Puerto Rico to Miami, right? And he's not fully, aware of how the business side works. He's just, trusting in people that he feel like he could trust. And then there's a bunch of stories where he's sharing me, like, times that he looked out for people and was being, genuine and whatever the case may be, and he got fully taken advantage of. And I was like, damn, that's kind of fucked up. But I'm like, I want to know more. I want to know my old boy's story, and I want to do something with that. I just don't know what it would be yet. A piece of me was like, I'll play my dad. You know what I'm saying? Thing is, I ain't as dark as my daddy, and me and him don't got the same hair texture. So I'm like, man, I don't know how that work. Someone else might have to play my dad, but I'll definitely need to, dark. And he and my old boy kind of getting up there in age, so I think that'd be a dope way. If not just, even if I don't do nothing with it, just a real dope way to like connect, as well. Because I see the parallel, like, especially when I went to go see, on my birthday, when I went to Old San Germán, which is where my dad's from, and I got to see the neighborhood that he grew up in as an adult. I was like, wow, yo, circumstances wasn't like, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking like, we had it bad. Nah, bro, you had it bad. And I hear stories of my mom telling me, yeah, at one point in time, your dad was renting like a spot where he was pretty much sleeping under a staircase and shit. And I'm like, what? But I'm like, see, but the thing is, like, I'll hear stuff like that, but I don't have a timeline. I don't know how, I want to know how it started, how, you know what I'm saying? So I got to really sit down and like pick my dad brain one of these, like, soon. That's what I'm gonna be doing. I would love to do something with that, but I don't know how that would look like either. You know what I mean? But I have, and I think everything that's led me up to this point is kind of walking me into like my next passion, which is writing. Interesting enough, I mentioned I had ESC classes before, So, and I remember being in elementary when they put me in ESC classes. And ESC classes ain't like special classes, but it's pretty much they put you in smaller classrooms because for whatever the case may be. I guess they thought I had ADD or something because I wasn't paying attention in class. I'll just be sitting drawing shit, and like they would say I wasn't paying attention, and then I'm the Puerto Rican kid in class, so they like, oh, you put him in Esau, but I'm like, I speak English, like why y'all put me in Esau to learn? Like no, I could understand and whatever. I'm just not paying attention. I wasn't like invested into the schooling. So I remember when I was a little kid, they put me in EC class. I didn't know what that meant, but I know I was hurt. Like they think I'm dumb. So for a long time, which is, oh shit, nah, hold on. Why this shit went in rest mode, bruh? See, look, now I look dark. My bad. If y'all don't know, I'm using the PlayStation as a light or my screen. Hold on. Welcome to the dark side of Amaury Love. The Venom symbiote is taking over. Hey, chill out with all that. All right, cool. I ain't gonna lie, this some real ghetto. Y'all wanna see? Look, I'll show you exactly what I'm doing right now for the light. Look, this is how it look like. I turn on Spider-Man, put the brightness all the way up so y'all can see. Anyways, so throughout my youth, up until like my teenage years, my late teens, like I didn't think I was dumb, but I didn't think I was me and intelligence didn't correlate, right? Which is funny because when I'll say I'm a nerd, but then like I remember I was watching Glasses and he said something along the lines of like, nerds are intelligent, and like people, what I'm saying, that are, and because even when if you type in nerd shit now, like on YouTube or something like that, the word nerd is more so associated with like, like comic and video game and whatever culture, whatever, right? Versus like what a nerd was like a bookworm and someone that's very intelligent and somebody that whatever. And it's funny because at the time, I guess, so my teenage years and everything like that, I didn't think that right. Like even writing wasn't something I was strong in, or just learning about stuff. It's not until I became conscious, for lack of a better word, until I walked into like my spiritual journey, that I kind of recognized my intelligence and recognized that, oh, I know, yeah, I could retain information and I could regurgitate information and I could learn about complex things. I just have to be interested in it. But if I have no interest in it, I'm not even wasting my thoughts. So I really find it, so whatever. I'm saying that to say that throughout a lot of my life, I didn't exercise certain things because I didn't see my intelligence, or it didn't. What's the word, man? I'm trying to think of it. Like, I just didn't recognize the stuff that I was actually good in. You know what I'm saying? And there's parts in my youth that I'll have glimpses of that. I remember my PlayStation 2 broke. I don't know what I did, bro. I opened that bitch up. I'm over here doing random shit. Turn that bit and it worked. I'm like, oh my god. Then when you start, like era, like in the MySpace era, right? You know how MySpace low key taught you how to code. Because if you wanted to have that dope profile, I remember my profile was like a T.I. I had a T.I. themed MySpace, and when you log into my MySpace, you hear big things popping and little things stopping. All these niggas being broken down the options that doing what you want to do. When you see me balling from that, oh my god, yeah, that's awesome. Anyways, yeah, so like it's not until I got older that I recognized my intelligence, right? Or made a point to improve, you know what I'm saying? Because the more you know, the more you could, especially like me chasing my rap dream. I felt like if I want to be a better lyricist, a better rapper, I need to read more. I need to write more, because if I want to be able to exercise a skill set, I have to have a better vocabulary. I have to be able to, I don't want my vocabulary to just hold 100 words. I need to be able to, you know what I mean? It's funny too. Somebody that it's dope. That's why I feel like it's ill for like artists and stuff like that to have interviews and speak, because Every artist is somebody's favorite artist, right? Every artist. It don't matter how big or how small, you're somebody's favorite artist, right? So you might be the spark to, even if it's not for them to be creative or do what they're doing, but you might be the spark for them to go somewhere. So I'm saying this to say, like, every time you hear T.I. speak, especially older, like even in younger interviews when he was younger, you could just hear how intellectual and how extensive his vocabulary was just based on the way he carried himself. He was still him, you know what I'm saying? He was still trapper from Atlanta, but you hear him speak and hear him articulate himself, and you're like, oh, that's an intelligent young brother right there. Same thing with Plies. I remember, I think Plies went to Miami South Ridge, if I'm not mistaken, one time. Or he went to one of the schools down south. I don't recall which one, but I think I remember Plies coming down. I know Iceberg went to South Ridge a bunch of times, but I remember hearing Plies speak, and I'm like, damn, Plies is intellectual, the motherfucker. He a Florida goon, but he's hell of intelligent. And I think you don't know what that does for somebody to have someone hear you talk. Because I think what you have to say holds so much weight, and you could influence with your words and with the things that you speak. That's why it's cool. We'll get to Spider-Man in a second, because I got to call. I want to see if Cameron go hop in, because hold on. Damn, this phone died. I want to talk about it with bro. Another damn. Let's see something. What the heck? Let me see. Give me one moment, man. I was looking at what the fuck? Where is it? There's a correlation with damn, it's on this phone. I'm wait till the bitch turn. I'm gonna show y'all. But I was looking at my astrology sign, right? And granted, I ain't finna sit here and act like I'm the super big into like astrology and stuff like that. As y'all know, from a spiritual aspect, I'm into like comedic science and all that, or comedic spirituality, whatever you want to call it. But there is a correlation with like astrology and the different, because it's existed for quite a long time, and it's existed for quite a long time. So it was ill. I was looking into like my sun is a Taurus, right? My moon is an Aquarius, and my rising is a Libra. And it's interesting because opened up right now. I share this with y'all. So, because I'm thinking about like, why do I operate the way I operate, and why I am the way I am? You get what I'm saying? Because I know, like, I give a fuck, bruh. I recognize how much I do give a fuck, especially when about the shit that I actually care about. I really give a fuck. It's funny because it's like a fine line between I don't give a shit versus like the stuff that I don't care about. I don't even want my brain to be absorbed. But when I care about some shit, I really give a fuck, right? So hold on. Hear what this shit say. And I'm even trying to like, I was like, all right, so let me hear about astrology throughout the different ages and stuff like that. Like, from comedic spirituality, how they looked at it in like Greece, and like, how African scholars like look into this, like just the different like lanes and shit, right? Hold on. See, look, right? If I was looking at a sentence like, you don't create for the sake of noise, you build with intent. You value deep symbolism, geometry, and ancient codes over surface level hype, right? You operate in the intersection of heavy physical grind and high level spiritual artistic vision. You know how to power through intense routine while keep your inner creativity completely alive. For For your philosophy, metal nature and ma'at aren't just things you read about, they're blueprints you intend to wear, live, and project into your world, right? Now, it's interesting because the Libra, right, is represented with scales. And if you correspond that with ma'at, right, which is the divine harmony in the universe, right? This is the symbol that in ancient African, because even if you look at like Kemet is just not the only place that had these. If you look at the different African spiritual systems that were all existing relatively around the same time, the names might be different. Certain not principles, but certain like stories would be different because they use the stories as a way as a connecting bridge to share a point, right? Just kind of like if someone makes a movie or writes a book or whatever, right? There's messaging that you're going to get from it. There's an intent that you're going to get from it, right? So it's the same kind of concept, right? They were teaching principles and value through the stories that were told, right? Whether it was real or not, it's not up to me to say here, oh, this is the truth and this is not the truth. Nah, that's not what I'm doing. Right? Like the Bible. The Bible is, in a sense, is a bunch of books that were put together that are to teach you how to live with God, right? So anyways, the Libra, the scales, right, also has a correlation with Ma'at, right, which that's the scales of Ma'at. There's these things that kind of correlate. Anyways, right. So because my rising is my rising is like the mask that you give to the world, right? Like this is how you present yourself to the world and stuff like that. And I was always wondering, like, why am I so mindful with what because I feel like whatever I say, speak, talk about, to me it's very important to share information, but also be wary of like, what are you saying, what are you talking about. That's why, like, even when I feel like I make mistakes, I really beat myself up because I'm like, damn, that's not my fucking intention. But then at the same time, it's not up to me to see how people interpret. It's not up to me how people interpret whatever they interpret. You know what I'm saying? It's what I'm supposed to do. But and I'm learning how to not. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm quick to want to explain myself, and I'm Naruto's foot. Like, what? Nah, that's not what I meant. But it's not up to me to do that. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. Let me make sure this shit. All right, cool. I'm just making sure this shit working. But I do my best to be in balance, and there's no such thing as perfect balance, right? Absolutely not. Things are always gonna, like, even on the balance, even if two things are on a scale and they're weighed exactly, they're always gonna teeter in and out of balance. So it's finding harmony in the chaos or whatever the case may be. So at least for me, that's how I recognize, damn, okay, that makes sense that I'm like that. It makes sense that why I try to, how you call it, man? Like, just be that be as balanced as I can possible and be mindful of my words and how, because again, like, how do you, I'm gonna go ahead and give y'all a better example as far as my act, right? But essentially it is being in harmony with, doing your best to be in harmony with the universe and being mindful of, like, your actions, your words, your thoughts are all gonna have some type of effect. You get what I'm saying? So it's important to be able to recognize these things, and I'm doing my best to be that way, because I'm not in a space where I could even, like, nah, bro, I can't waste my thoughts, I can't waste my actions and all this type of thing, especially if I'm doing my best to be a better man, to be a better person. You know what I mean? And even now that I have, like, this space, like, to jump on a pod and, like, talk and chop it up or whatever, I see that it's important for me to be able to share my truth and do it in a way to where, like, I'm not alienating other people. You get what I'm saying? Because when I was younger, I thought I knew everything. Yes, I know the truth. I know exactly how it's supposed to be and how things should go and blah 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 blah. Like, no, you're wrong. That's wrong. You know what I'm saying? because it's not about, even with dogmas and stuff like that. Everyone is entitled to how they feel like life is. I look at different religions as I look at religions like languages, right? Like how you translate God's message, right? People translate God's message through the Bible. People translate God's message through the Quran. People translate God's message through Buddhism. People translate God's message through whatever. You know what I'm saying? Kemet, you know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the case may be. So I feel like it's your way to be a good, you know what I'm saying, how to connect with God and be in tune, right? Hold up. Anyways, I don't know how I got into the spiral of fucking thought, but this is I guess the train of thought that I want to kind of get into, especially with the space, and talk about some cool like nerd shit or whatever too. Cause there's a lot, like even in like the podcast world and like the whatever, it's just so many different voices and people that talk about a lot of different things, and I'm like, how do I fit here and be important and say something that's real without taking up oxygen in other spaces, and not doing things for attention or clicks or for whatever the case may be, just being as authentic as I possibly can, you know. All right, let's see here. Let's see how much. Let me see something, man. Hold on. I want to call Jazz for the goddamn pod, but. Where's that, man? Where is that, man? All right. Hold on. Let me call camera. This man probably working.
Hey, this is Cameron Bell.
Ugly as fuck. Why you got that goddamn Cameron? That was an ugly ass voicemail. Anyways, damn, we hit the hour mark. I'm over here being deep for an hour. Okay. Spider-Man Brand New Day is phenomenal. Phenomenal. Bruh. Brand New Day. Alright, so I've been waiting for this movie for a long ass time, right? And Spider-Man is my favorite superhero. Next to Batman. I think it's Spider-Man first, then Batman, and whatever else order, all these other superheroes. Right? But bruh, this was so good, bruh. I don't know, I can't say yet if it's my favorite Spider-Man movie of all time, but it's up there though. I hear a lot of people saying Spider-Man 2, like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, like that's their favorite Spider-Man. But I feel like that's a general consensus. And that's not my favorite out of the Tobey Maguire trilogy. My favorite is the first one. And I kind of like Spider-Man 3, even though, like, it's funny. All right, I'm going to get to Brand New Day in a second, but let me say this, right? I remember once, like, sometime last year before I moved over here, right? I was bored as fuck. Well, not bored, but it was like a day off or whatever. I had got a gummy. And I was like, fuck it, let me watch Spider-Man 3. It's been a minute, right? Because I remember when it came out, I liked it, but the general consensus didn't fuck with it because, like, you know, the whole part where Toby gets the black suit and he starts tripping. He done slap MJ. He doing all these weird dance. It's like this. It's probably like 10, 15 minutes of, like, filler. I was just like, what he on? Like, this is kind of weird. I feel like the director was like, oh, y'all making me put this black suit in here? Bet. I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want. I'm about to do some director shit in this bitch. Anyway, that's how I interpreted when I was, like, watching the shit. But it was so good. It was so good. Like, Harry Osborn was a fucking evil as fuck. He remind me of the dude from the Odyssey, low key. There's two people that I hate in cinema. Is brother from the Odyssey, Robert Pattinson character from Odyssey, and Harry Osborn. They was both on some fuck shit. But goddamn, but all right. So look, so goddamn, I'm watching fucking Brand New Day, and when it finished the first time, mind you, I watched it on the Thursday it came out, right? And I dozed off in the part like. If y'all, this is spoiler, so if y'all watched goddamn Spider-Man Brand New Day, I'm sorry, you're spoiling the motherfucker. So in between the Hulk fight, right, and right when Spider-Man's going into damage control to like help Jean Grey out or whatever the case may be, that space I had fell asleep in. So I remember dozing off toward like right when the Hulk turned big as fuck and they started fighting, I kind of dozed off and I woke up and Spider-Man's going into the damage control to fucking rescue Jean Grey. But I missed certain parts of the fucking like certain key moments. Like I didn't know that MJ found the letter to Peter Parker that Peter Parker had wrote for her like 4 years ago, and she's like, I don't remember you. So anyways, I watched it again today, this morning. And I was like, oh yeah, I can't wait to talk about this on the pod, man. All right, first I want to say, right, one thing that I appreciate about like the marketing of the film right before the film drop, I feel like they barely showed you anything, to be honest. Like a lot of the stuff that I seen in the trailer, outside of when they finally like showed like the Hulk and stuff like that, a lot of that was in the trailer was from like the first 15 minutes of the movie. They didn't really show you a lot of what happens, right? Or even how things are filmed and shot, and like the way that Spider-Man moves on camera. It really felt like I was watching the Spider-Man Insomnia game like in real life, right? Even like when they were showing characters like what's bro name? Like all the B-list characters, it was really meant for the montage. And I was like, oh man, that's hard. That was so fucking hard. Cause a lot of, the big thing was like, who's Sadie Sink playing? Who's the mystery character? Everybody knew it was fucking it was Jean Grey. It was the worst kept secret. It was actually worse kept than like Toby and because like Toby and fucking Andrew Garfield, the two other Spider-Man, they was in the last movie and like something had leaked and everyone was like, oh, they're in it, but everyone was denied until the movie came out. Like, yep, they're in it. That was a moment in the theater too, bro. Back when No Way Home came out, man, that was a crazy ass. That was such a dope reveal. Anyways, so I think they did a good job with the marketing of the movie, not give too much away. Outside of everyone know who Jean Grey was, but even the way Sadie Sink, I'm gonna get to that. But the way Sadie Sink played Jean Grey, man, she was fire. Hold on. All good, man. Shut up. It was so fire. She did such a good job playing Jean Grey, and I'm like, damn, I could see her as, I can't wait to see her when they actually do the X-Men movie and her play the role of Jean Grey and who they decide to cast as the other members like of the X-Men and shit like that. That's gonna be fire. And I think they did a really good way of introducing her, because it made me think of like, how they introduced Tom Holland's character in Civil War, right? And how they introduced Black Panther in Civil War. Like it was a Captain America movie. They introduced Black Panther and Spider-Man, right? And it was enough screen time for you to know who these characters are and know that they're gonna have a big impact. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. They're gonna have a big impact. Oh, it's fire too. My bad. Footnote: they just casted the T'Challa Jr. for Black Panther 3. That's gonna be great. Which releases after is gonna release after Secret Wars, which is awesome. And Ryan Coogler always put his foot in anything that he does. Sinners might be my favorite movie of all time. or that might be the best movie of all time to me. I don't know. I don't know if it's my favorite. I got like niche, weird favorite movies and shit like that, like in different type of like genres and shit like that. But it centers encompassing everything that I love in a movie. But my bad, that's neither here nor there. So the way they introduced Jean Grey's character, I think it was dope because you gave a fuck about her, and she was. Oh man, I'm gonna get to that in a second. We're gonna do my little review. All right, so I love how the movie starts right before the 4-year time skip. Right, you know, everyone forgot who Peter Parker is. Spider-Man, he's just chilling like on top of a roof somewhere. He's looking at his phone, like seeing his old best friend, his old girlfriend, you know, they completely forgot about bro, and they just living this life. He's just kind of like peeping game from a distance or whatever. So what the fuck? So he's like, all right, whatever, and then it goes into this, you know, he's like, all right, bet, all right, I guess I'm just gonna lean into Spider-Man. Oh, and then what's playing in the background, the monologue, I guess, is the letter that Peter wrote to it's a monologue that Peter wrote to MJ, right? So then it goes into this montage of like Spider-Man, you know, being Spider-Man, him kind of figuring everything out, him finding different villains like the Scorpion. You see Tombstone, some guy named not Hammerhead. I don't know. That is ill because they was recreating like classic. They was recreating classic covers. That shit was fire as fuck. And it's ill. It kind of speeds you up to date of what Peter's been experiencing for the 4 years. Now, one thing I didn't know, I'm like, how? Because they show him get his apartment and shit like that, whatever. I'm like, how Peter paying for all this shit? They ain't show his. I really thought in the movie that they would show either J. Jonah Jameson or him working at the Bugle, or him doing something to kind of make his ends, because they actually don't show that at all in the film, which I thought was kind of weird. Well, not weird, but like, they probably didn't have to. They'll save it for like the next movie or whatever, or they just figured like, oh, this is not important to like kind of jam this into the story. But it's kind of showing you like everything he's been on. He just been Spider-Man like a motherfucker. And oh man, what's this lady's name, bruh? She's so fucking fire. Hold on, I'll tell you right now. My bad. It's the Afro Latina lady. I'm trying. I don't think she plays a. Where's she at? Her name is Lisa Colon Zayas, but who does she play? Hold on. I'm trying to see the damn. There you go. Oh, okay, there you go. Now I can see it correctly. Well, I don't have her name. She had played a detective, right? And you know what it made me think of? You know how in the Spider-Man anime series, there was a detective that was always helping Peter Parker out, that she was like cool as fuck with. I don't think it's the same character though, but it kind of gave me the same vibe. And I was actually reading something that like in the comic books, her character ends up dying and something happens, and that's a connective tissue to like Eddie Brock and the symbiote. But I don't know, man. I don't know if they're gonna end up doing that. And they better not kill that lady off. She was dope as fuck. But I remember when they get to they finish the fast forward for the 4 years. She's on the phone with Peter, and she's like, man, she's like, I'm worried about you. She's like, you know, like, do you have a life? Like, what do you be doing? You just so focused on being Spider-Man. And then he's like, nah, whatever. She's like, you never even asked me no questions. Like, what's my kids' names? He's like, Poppy? You funny as fuck. So I guess he gets an alert, and then I guess the tank running through New York City, which is like the scene that I think is like one of the first scenes that they shot. I forgot where it was, but it was overseas, and they like recreated like New York City and whatnot, and like how it was like a tank running through the fucking thing or whatever. Which was, I ain't gonna lie, that shit was fucking cool. That was a good ass scene. It made me think of the Spider-Man fucking Insomnia game. Cause even like the you know how like there'll be like car chases or whatever, not tank chases, but like the armored truck chases or whatever. And you gotta stop the car midway. Like the way it was filmed and the way they showed Spider-Man swinging through New York City and shit like that. That shit was so fucking gas. Um, so boom, that shit stopped, and it crashes into the to the DOG, the Department of Damage Control, DODC. That's what it's called, DODC, right? And you kind of don't know what's actually going on. So Spider-Man opens the tank, and just like in the trailer, it's a lady in there, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And then you could tell that she's being mind controlled, and she's like jumping from the mind control is jumping from body to body. And it's funny because I really thought, bro, and everything in me was like, nah, it's a symbiote. They not showing it in the trailer, but the symbiote jumping from host to host. I was wrong. It wasn't the symbiote. So boom. So like and Spider-Man's like aware. He could peep game that, oh, you're taking control of people or whatever. And then Jean Grey, which we know now, right? She's jumping from host to host, and she's trying to have Scorpion escape so she could take his body over to break back into damage control, because she's looking for something called VMAX, right? And how does I forgot how Peter finds out about the word VMAX, but he's like, what the fuck is VMAX? And she tries to jump in his mind, but for some reason she can't. They don't explain why. They don't explain if it's because of the spider sense or if it's because he's part of Rat. No, they don't actually explain anything. But she can't like dive into his mind or whatever, right? But Scorpion ends up escaping. So, mind you, my bad, I kind of rushed. So as the going back to where the tank was like going through New York and shit like that, right? That's the first time you see Punisher. And it's, bro, the banter between Punisher and Spider-Man, it's at the same level of like Deadpool and Wolverine low key. I might have liked it a little bit, you know, bro. Deadpool and Wolverine is amazing. That's one of my favorite movies of all, favorite superhero movies of all time. And you know, the chemistry between Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds was great, but the chemistry between fucking Tom Holland and John Bernthal, that's his name, that shit was perfect. It was just like he was like the big brother that got beat up by the world. That he's the Punisher 24/7. He doesn't have no real life. He's what Peter Parker would be if Spider-Man just stays being Spider-Man. He isolates himself, which is what the movie's about for the most part. Because Peter Parker, he doesn't, his best friends are gone. He doesn't have anybody. He's just being Spider-Man, and he's not making time for himself, which is how I feel like in my real life. So yeah, so this man, John, Punisher, kind of shows what would happen to Peter if he just isolates everybody and becomes himself. Because you know the Punisher backstory, all his family had died, and like he's pretty much by himself or whatever. But it was ill because it especially at the ending, I had a laugh because like he's such a, I don't give a fuck, like I'm gonna kill him. If he's a bad person or she a bad person, I'm gonna kill him. Like, you got me fucked up. I got all these guns. And at the end of the movie, for him to have some type of emotion, giving a fuck about what happened to Peter, was ill to see that, like, that character, especially after watching the Punisher special, because that shit is fucking intense. I was like watching a Call of Duty game or some shit filmed. So boom, he's so whatever. Fast forward, they have a little banter back and forth. Spider-Man like knocks him out the car, like y'all seen the trailer, whatever the case may be, and he's like, and then that's when everything happens and Scorpion escapes and whatnot. So Peter's like, man, I'm gonna holler at you. He's talking to the lady. He said, listen, detective, I'm gonna go holler at one of my somebody that I know. Maybe they could find out what's going on, this, that, and the third. So he goes, whatchamacallit? He goes to Black Widow, right? Which is am I getting the fucking names? That's Scarlett Johansson's character, but the new Black Widow, right, from the Thunderbolts. And like the scene funny as fuck, cause she just sitting she's in a bathhouse in this big ass tub. She naked in the water. Spider-Man walk in, and she's like, all right, well, take off your clothes and get in the water. He's like, what? He's like, yeah. She's like, I need to make sure you ain't got no weapons on you. So he come back outside with like the fucking towel and the Spider-Man mask, and she like, you don't take off your mask? Like, nah, this protect me. Like, nah, I don't take it from nobody. I heard someone saying that they wish they should have shot that scene in Avengers style, but I think it played off good for comedy. And it showed because even though, Peter's a grown man now, you know what I'm saying? He's like, what, like 25, 26 in the movie or whatnot? But he was like so awkward with Black Widow because she in the tub and he's like, oh shit, like, and he's asking her like, hey, look, do you know anything about VMAX or something to that effect or whatever the case may be? And it's like, nah, I'll look into it. Woo, woo. And she's like, all right. Well, he's like, man, fuck it. Well, I'm gonna just go to damage control myself and holler at them. So then that's when he pull up and then he sees, he goes to the Department of Damage Control, and what is it? He sees what's bro name? Tremel Tillman's character, which is William Mexter. I ain't gonna lie. There's a piece of me that's like, man, he could have played a really good Norman Osborn if they wanted to. You know what's funny in the movie? And I don't know. I know it wasn't written this way because I heard that initially it was going to be a whole completely different story. They was trying to tie in the whole Null, God of the Symbiotes, and connect Venom. They was trying to do something really big, but they eventually like changed plans or whatnot. But there's two people that I think, and I'm jumping ahead, but there's two people that I think could have, like Tremel Tillman could have played Norman Osborn, and even though he's bro's already casted. When I was watching Bruce Banner and Peter Parker interact, this guy fucking, what's the actor's name, bro? My bad, I'm on the actor page right now. Mark Ruffalo could have played a really good Dr. Octopus. I ain't gonna lie, he could have played a real good Doc Ock, because I seen him, the way he was talking to Peter in that whole scene in the campus, which I'm gonna get to in a second. That's actually the next thing that happens after this, because he goes Peter Tremel Tillman's character. He's asking him questions. They're like, all right, well, I need your help to take this girl down. So then Peter ends up running back into his homies or whatever the case may be. He runs into Ned because I guess they're back from college or whatever, and I thought it was interesting. I don't know if they was playing on this for. And maybe this is me overthinking of being like a big Spider-Man fan, but he goes to get he walks into the store, right, and he's buying 2 kegs of beers, and then he goes to the counter and asks for like this energy shot, like something called Shark something, whatever. He's like, nah, don't, if you got that, all right, don't sell me that. Matter of fact, no, sell it to me, but only sell me 1. No, let me get 2. And then after this, you see this face, don't do it no more. And I was thinking like, man, is that like a drug reference? Because in the comic books, Harry Osborn, even though they're 2 different characters, but Ned Leeds in the comics eventually becomes a Hobgoblin. But Harry Osborn in the comic books, he gets addicted to drugs in the comics, right? And it becomes a big thing of like the story or whatever. So I'm wondering if like that energy drink thing, was that like a homage to that, or is that going to play a factor later on or whatever the case may be? Because they made reference to point it out, but it wasn't a thing of like, oh my God, or whatever the case may be. So I wonder if that was like if it laid a seed for something. So whatever, Peter figures out, oh, they back, so he goes to he pretty much follows them to the housewarming party or whatever they're going to, right? So Peter walks into the room and sees a bunch of photos of Spider-Man on the wall, and then he runs into Ned. And you know what's fucking dope? The moment Ned walks out, I see on the wall there's a fucking Naruto poster. I was like, yo, that's fucking raw. Naruto exists in the world of Spider-Man. Mind you, the director Dustin Daniel Craig, who directed this movie, he's gonna direct the live action Naruto movie. Man, I need to be an extra in that motherfucker. I don't think I got the wherewithal to be a goddamn. I mean, I don't got the energy to be fucking or whatever. I don't know if I can play any role, but I'll definitely be an extra. Let me be a ninja that get whatever. Anyway, I'm just talking shit. So he walks in, they interact or whatever, and then MJ walks in. Granted, this is what I thought was cool, and from a film perspective, right? During the montage in the beginning, you see that Peter keeps going to the same store to buy flowers. And to take it to Aunt May's grave. It's just a kind of like a repetitive like circle or process that's happening over and over again, right? So when he runs into Ned, he's doing the same thing. He's going to the same store to buy the same flowers. So when he runs into Ned, he's holding the same flowers that he's going to take to Aunt May. He goes to the party. When he goes to the actual party, he's still holding the flowers in his hand. When he runs to MJ, he gives MJ the flowers that was initially for Aunt May. Like, oh, this is a housewarming gift. And from a film perspective, one of these videos I was watching was explaining how that breaks the cycle of repetition that he's been doing this entire time up until this point. And you know what I mean? So I thought that was fire. I thought that was a fire analysis, or whoever pointed that out or whatnot. So boom. So Peter's at the party, and it's fucked up. Peter's at the party, right? So he's like, oh shit, I just run into MJ, whatever. And then MJ goes, I guess she sees her man, who's played by Ezra Bridger. I don't know the actor's real name. What's the brother's name? Man, he plays Ezra Bridger in the fucking in Ahsoka series. Eman Asfandi, that's bro name. He runs in. She that's MJ's boyfriend. So they kiss, and he like, oh, that shit broke that man heart. That man, you could tell, like, oh, that shit just shattered his fucking heart in a billion pieces or whatever. So he fucks around and starts tweaking, and the scene kind of sad where he like swinging or whatever the case may be, whatever, whatnot. And he wakes up and he's like in a cocoon, and he's like, what the fuck is going on? He falls, and then right when he's about to fall, hits shit on the way down, and when he's about to land, he fucking web swings and realizes that has some I got you, bruh. He realized like, oh shit, he shot organic web, and he's like, what the fuck is going on with me? So he's on his computer and AI trying to figure out what's going on. It's like, yo, your DNA is acting more like your mutation is evolving. I'm glad they didn't do the man spider shit, because ain't nobody want to see the ending of this grotesque man spider shit. Even though it might have been raw, I rather would have had that same story with the symbiote, but I'm sure they saving it for Secret Wars or whatever the case may be. But whatchamacallit? My fucking so yeah, so he's like, yo, I'm tweaking, I don't know what's going on. He's trying to figure out a way to, he's like, what can I do? So he's like, you know what, I'm gonna go holler at somebody. That's when you go see Professor Banner, and it's ill again. Like I said earlier, I really thought like, damn, Mark Ruffalo would have played a really good Dr. Octopus. So they show him they in class, and the students, they don't give a fuck about nothing in physics or whatever the case may be. They asking him questions about Thanos and whatever. So when Peter hollers at him after class, he's like, they going straight science bros. He's asking him very specific things about DNA and RNA and blah 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 blah. And like, oh, are there certain genes that you could activate and deactivate? And you could tell like the Hulk, like, he ain't one of my students, huh? He's like you could it's almost like he knew, like, I know you, but I don't know you. Anyways, what happened after that? So boom, he makes this little device thing, which I think it's crazy too, because the Hulk and Spider-Man low-key planted the seed to what damage control is gonna have eventually, to have those collars that, because in X-Men 97 they have the collars that damp the mutants' abilities to use their powers and shit like that. So low-key, Spider-Man and the Hulk might be the reason that this technology evolves to dampen the mutants' power. So it might be their fault. I think that was an ill thing or whatever. So whatchamacallit? Goddamn hold on. Excuse me. So boom, Spider-Man's trying to figure it out, because he keeps tweaking everything he's overly sensationalized, like his senses are too heightened. Like now he got organic webbing, so Bruce Banner gave him some game. He's trying to fix it, make this device so he could not completely take away his powers, but kind of have some midpoint or whatever, right? So then what happens after that? I think Scorpion, there's another message from Scorpion is active or whatever. He sees Scorpion again. Spider-Man beat the fuck out of Scorpion. But Scorpion is being controlled by Jean Grey at this point. So Jean Grey ends up peeping game at like finding out who Spider-Man really is, right? Because as he's fighting Scorpion, she goes into his apartment and she reads the note that he left to MJ. So she's like, oh, I'm gonna go get MJ or whatever. And all right, this is after the Spider-Man beat the fuck out Scorpion. He wake up like, what the fuck happened? Like, what's going on? Why am I beat up, tied up? Peter Parker hits Scorpion with a police car, and the police car flipped. He almost killed a police officer. All type of shit going on. Spider-Man's tweaking because he can't hold his like his anger and what's going on or whatever, because he's being so emotional. So, goddamn, whatchamacallit? Fucking, damn, how did shit go? What happened after that scene? He goes straight to MJ. Like, he jumps in her window like, hey, listen, you gotta come with me right now. Someone's after you. I promise you I'll take care of you. Like, you need to come with me now. And she like, okay, whatever. So he take her to like a rooftop. And this is the most horrible scene in that shit, bro. I felt so motherfucking bad. Cause like MJ is like, why are you saving me? She's like, did we know each other? He's like, she starts naming stuff from like the past or whatever, and he's like, nah. And then she walks up to him and like pulls his mask up and kisses him, and then she pulls the mask on. She's like, Peter, and he starts crying and gives her a hug, like, oh my God, I miss you so much. Woo, woo. And then she goes from like, oh my God, and then her face turns regular. She's like, she goes, yeah, hold her, Peter. Some like, I forgot what the word she used, but pretty much that wasn't MJ. That was fucking damn, that was cold, bro. That was fucking Jean Grey controlling MJ. And at that moment, I felt so happy for Peter. I was like, damn, the one that he loved is fucking he's embracing the one he loved, woo woo. And she's over here what's the word? Playing with his emotions. I was like, damn, that's one of the coldest scenes I've seen in an MCU film. I ain't gonna lie, because you could tell, like, Peter in that moment was so fucking happy, like that's the love of his life, and he's thinking that like the spell broke and he remembered her, and that was Jean Grey fucking with him. So then she jumps out. Then she's like, all right, well, she jumps off the fucking building. Spider-Man saves her the same way that Andrew Garfield saved her in Spider-Man No Way Home, and then he takes her to the Punisher's crib. And then this was funny too, because the Punisher got a bunch of booby traps and everything everywhere, and Punisher and Spider-Man always fucking arguing back and forth. So anyways, he takes her there, whatever, they settle in and whatnot. They have like a little moment exchange where you could tell like they kind of like bonding or whatever, but they still, she doesn't know him. And then Spider-Man gets a notification that something's happening at the DODC again, because she keeps trying to break inside. So they're like, oh, we found her facial recognition, she's there. So he goes, and then MJ's telling the Punisher like, hey, you gonna go with him? He might need your help. So he walk inside again, the shit all fucked up inside. And as it's fucked up, he's what's funny? It's just all fucked up there. So as he's walking and shit like that, he got down sees Jean Grey, and she's like, yo, you're pretty, like, what are you doing? All of a sudden you see fucking Professor Hulk, like the professor version of the Hulk, hit the fuck out Peter Parker, and Jean Grey's controlling the Hulk, and Peter's like, bruh, what are you doing? Like, you can't control the Hulk. Like, this man is super dangerous. So then Punisher comes out of nowhere shooting the Hulk, and Spider-Man's like, what are you doing? You can't fight the Hulk. What are you doing? And he's like, I came here to save you. Boo, boo. So then that shit turned the whole fucking fight. Punisher tries to go after Jean Grey, because he's like, man, I ain't gonna told you, I'm gonna kill her. Like, I don't give a fuck. Spider-Man's, don't kill her. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna kill her. You got me fucked up. And he's like, don't go 30 feet away from her either, because the range of her powers her powers is not, she's not on professor level yet or whatever, where he could like fully grab, like it's still like limited or whatnot. So the Hulk pushes Jean Grey out, and Professor Banner turns back to normal. when he turns back to normal, Peter's like, look, just put this on. It's gonna dampen your power. We'll be fine. And then he's like, what? And then he really turns into the real, like the real Hulk is back. And that fucking scene is crazy because they can't do nothing against Spider-Man. Can't do nothing against the Hulk. He's like running away, and like just the scene itself, like how it kind of made me think of that Avengers scene, like in the first Avengers movie, that scene where like the Hulk runs through like this hallway. They kind of had a different, like a kind of similar play on that, but Spider-Man is like swinging and trying to, and he keeps webbing him to kind of like stop him in his tracks. But the Hulk is so goddamn strong, and he's just running through that shit. I think it's cool what they did with the whole thing. Like he ended up tying him to like the building and using like the shocker's glove to knock his ass out. Then there's a point where like Hulk, I don't know, it's like I think he's like trying to choke Spider-Man to grab him, and which is crazy. The Hulk is so big that his hand fits like Spider-Man's body. It's fucking insane. And he's like, yo, it's Peter. And then he kind of like remembers, because he never called himself Peter to Bruce Banner. He called himself Ned. So I thought it was ill. I think, and in the comics, this happens too, where the Hulk's mind and Bruce Banner's mind are in different, like it's different consciousness. So the Hulk this is just my theory. I think the Hulk remembers Peter Parker, and in turn, if the Hulk remembers Peter Parker, then Bruce will remember Peter Parker. So I think the spell didn't affect Bruce Banner. Or it didn't affect the Hulk, right? So, and then at that point, he kind of remembers, and then, you know, the Hulk falls or whatever, and then boom, they take I think the Avengers take, or Yelena takes the Hulk or whatnot, and they end up putting the chip thing on Jean Grey, and then the DODC takes her, right? So, that's when. And then I guess I ain't gonna lie, I dozed off again. So there's like a small gray area that I kind of remember. So that at some point, MJ ends up reading the letter that Peter left her, right? She talks to Peter and is like, hey, I don't love you. I don't know you, right? Like that's and that's a little awkward ass scene. So then he takes her back to the house and she's like, yo, you wanna meet Ned? Like y'all wanna chop it up? And it's kind of a beautiful scene because him and Ned just sitting there like, you know, like yo, this is my dog. Like, you know what I'm saying? They playing fucking Legos and shit like that, and she's sitting there drawing them, and then it kind of is reminiscent of Homecoming, where like in that first Spider-Man movie, like MJ would be sitting in class drawing and shit or whatever, drawing like Peter or whoever the people in the room and stuff like that. So I thought that was a cool like callback scene. I think the director did a good job of, even though it's his, you know, it's pretty much gonna be his trilogy, I guess now, but he did a great job of keeping the essence of the original trilogy in the DNA of this film without making the same thing. It was really fucking good. So whatchamacallit? Whatever, he slide and he's there, and then Yelena hits up the Black Widow hits up Peter on the computer, and she's like, hey, I was digging through the files. She's like, there's a lot of marked up files here, and there's someone named Sarah Jean, and which is Jean Grey's sister. And I think that's at the moment where he finds out that, like, oh shit, like they captured her sister, or like Damage Control's been doing like experiments and shit on fucking on mutants and stuff like that. So he realizes, like, fuck, I need to make sure I did the wrong thing. I gotta go save her, because his sister, Jean Grey's sister Sarah, they had killed her trying to experiment on her powers and shit like that. And then that's when they show you the flashback scene of like what happened to like Jean Grey. She's sitting in the park with her sister, and then like the DODC comes, shoots her with a fucking tranquilizer dart and kidnaps her, and then they pretty much experimenting on her to figure out how her powers work so they could replicate it and use it for whatever they fucking do. So that's when Spider-Man goes back to goddamn that's when Spider-Man goes back to fucking to what's it called? Goes back to fucking goes back to Damage Control to like, nah, I gotta go save her. It's like I did the wrong thing. Punisher is he's like, I know what you're doing. He's like, I can see you. This man, goddamn. He's like, no, I got eyes. He's like, I got eyes everywhere, kid. He looking at the damn Spider-Man app that Ned made, and fucking he so all right. He get there, he get to whatchamacallit? He get to so Spider-Man get there and it turned into the Spider-Man PlayStation game. There was so much triangle circles. If you play the Spider-Man game, you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Throughout the whole goddamn scene, like webbing people up, pushing on the wall and all this type of shit. Bro, it was so fucking fire. So fucking fire. And fucking so that's when like and as this is happening, the William Metzger, he's Tremel Tillman's character, he's like got Jean like tied up and like she's in a room that that's pretty much like he's making her use her power so they could analyze her brain and see how it works so they could replicate it, right? So she looks up in the ceiling, and throughout the movie they kept referencing VMAX. She's trying to figure out what this is because she thinks that's where her sister's located at. But when she looks up at the ceiling and sees the vent, and the vent says Vent Max, but the ENT is like faded, so you just see V Max. And then that's when she realizes, like, oh, this is the last thing my sister saw before y'all killed her. So that tweaks her out, and then her powers like kind of like explode. So like in the film, her powers are limited to where she can only control one person, and she'll jump from one individual to another, right? But in this part, she gets so fucking upset and like her powers explode that she creates this like big ass fucking I don't even know what to call it, like a psionic wave that has like a crazy ass radius where everyone pretty much gets like stuck in her field, right? And this is ill because like the Punisher drives up right to the where he could see like the front of the field. Like, oh nah, so he ends up going on top of some roof to like set up so he could like snipe her, right? He's like, nah, fuck that. Like, all right, she gotta go because she got everyone in New York all trapped and shit like that. So Spider-Man, he go inside the building. Then as this is all going down, she's about to kill Tremel Tillman's character. Spider-Man's like right inside, like right before he gets inside, and then she's controlling the hand, and he has to have a fight. Then he has to fight the hand, which is like the ninjas and shit. He beat their ass. Well, no, first he tweaks out. He like embraces his mutation. He's like, she's like, because there's like this monologue. Are you Peter Parker, you Spider-Man? And he's like, I'm both. And then he fucking breaks a fucking katana, and then they fight. Breaks out, fucking amazing choreography and all that type of shit. Oh, this film was choreographed by the Jackie Chan stunt team, by the way. That's fire, because I love Jackie Chan. So that's fucking amazing. So boom. So the all the choreography, all that shit happens. He gets right to Jean Grey, and she's like, oh, my powers are stronger now. She's like, now I could take over your mind. So she jumps into his mind. He lets her jump into his mind. And there's a scene that they had played earlier that you see Spider-Man in like the homecoming outfit sitting down in bed, and he's talking to Aunt May, but only played a little bit of the scene. So she gets there, she's bearing witness to that scene, and then like Peter switches places with her in her mind. So it's like Aunt May, whatever Aunt May told to Peter Parker. She's telling, it's like Aunt May's telling to her, and she like breaks down, like start crying or whatever. She's like, damn, like because I guess she didn't recognize that Peter lost someone as well, because she's dealing with the grief of losing her sister, right? So her and Peter like having a conversation in her mind, like, you know, and they have like a moment where they connect, like, look, you don't got to do this alone, trust me, I've been trying to do this alone for a long time. It's like, it doesn't work. You have to connect, like, you're not going to be able to do anything. So as that's happening, right, Peter notices, like, he hears a gunshot, and I said earlier, as a Punisher, he was like planted with the sniper rifle, and he shot that bitch, and Peter jumps out of the moment and jumps in front of the bullet and gets shot in the back. And it's kind of crazy too, because it's almost like the same scene with like the Green Goblin, when the Green Goblin kills Aunt May, and like he fought, and like she's like, oh, I'm okay, and then she like collapses and then like starts bleeding out. The same thing happened with Spider-Man, but he's like, no, so he's like, he's like, you gotta go, and Jean, she kept like is ill because like it fades away, the scene fades away or whatever, and then you see like Punisher holding Spider-Man kind of like in the Civil War comic book, and walks into the goddamn hospital and makes sure that Peter Parker gets to the doctors or whatever. So they're trying to see if Spider-Man is going to make it or not. Come to find out that Jean Grey like kept Peter alive the whole time, making sure that he was breathing and stuff through her fucking psychic powers or whatever the case may be. And that's cool because when Peter Parker wakes up, he has like a moment with the Punisher. He's like, bro, were you crying? He's like, man, I wasn't crying. He's like, you was crying. And they had a little laugh or whatnot. And then the movie pretty much ends there. It is funny too because he's like, all right, I know a way to sneak you out. So Peter's walking because no one's seen Spider-Man face or whatnot. And then the Punisher has like a Spider-Man mask with the gloves, and he's like out the window like, yeah. And then the scene jumps into inside the room, and you hear him with this fucking rough ass voice like, yeah. Then the movie ends there. The post credit scene. No, wait. What happens after that? Yeah, no, I lied. So then Peter goes back to the same shop that he been going to get flowers for Amaury, every time or whatnot. He sees Ned, and when MJ finds out that Peter knew Ned and MJ or whatever, she's like, oh, you should tell Ned, he can handle it, whatnot, because y'all used to be best friends or whatever. So Peter sees Ned as Peter, right, and he daps him up, but he does the handshake that they handshake when they was in high school, and for some reason subconsciously Ned knew it, and then he's like, hi, my name's Peter, and then he does the handshake, and then he's like, Peter, and then the fucking the movie ends. The post-credit scene, I thought it would have a better post-credit scene, but the post-credit scene is pretty much the spider tracker, and the shit is glitching, like, oh, Spider-Man is not here, and then it shows him in space, and then whatever. I guess that's supposed to be like a Doomsday Easter egg, but nobody knows if... I think Tom Holland's in Doomsday, but if he is, it's either they are doing a really good job of hiding him, or he's going to be at the third act, or he's going to be the post-credit scene. I think if Tom Holland Spider-Man is in Doomsday, he's in the third act. I think he would be in the third act because I think, oh man, the Doomsday trailer is crazy. I still haven't talked about the Doomsday trailer here. I'll probably do it next time because I still haven't talked about none of the X-Men episodes. I still haven't talked about Doomsday. Like the trailer is insane. But Spider-Man Brand New Day was dope. That was fucking dope. I know I kind of just did like a movie recap. I've never done that before, like a whole thing before. But I kind of did with the Odyssey, but I ain't go scene for scene. So this is kind of a first. But bro, when I tell you Doomsday was, Brand New Day was so good. Me telling it is not doing it justice, for real. Because it's just, there's so much stuff, and I've seen it twice. And every time I watched it, I picked up something different. So I'm still trying to, there's so many Easter eggs and little things that you won't even actually necessarily notice. Let's watch it. And it's cool too because they had fucking whatchamacallit. They had what's it called? They had different, like, I guess the director and like Tom Holland and all them doing interviews, and they was talking about like the different, like, apparently there was a cut scene that involved a bunch of different like villains at the same time that they end up cutting for. I'm sorry, my bad, I'm a little tired. I fucking had a crazy, like, a long morning, and going to the gym every day has been a motherfucker too. That's the vice that I replaced smoking with. Now, since I'm not smoking no more, now I'm just going to the gym, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go every other day. Then I changed it, like, oh no, I'm gonna go every other day, but I'm gonna go in the morning, I'm going at night. Now it's like one day I go twice a day, and one day I go once a day. I'm really taking my health serious. And now that, that boy got a little six pack, I don't want to go nowhere, and I just like how my body's developing and stuff like that. It's a first for me. But man, when I tell you, this movie was so good. Like I'm gonna watch it probably one more time or two more times before they take it out the theaters. I can't wait for like the actual Blu-ray now because I need to see those deleted scenes. I wanted to hear them talk about the ideas and stuff that they had that they could have done. Because I guess again at one point it was gonna be a completely different villain. Like Jean Grey was always a thing, I believe, but they was gonna go a different route with like some of the supporting characters that they use, or and Venom was gonna be a thing. Like so, I'm grateful they did it the way they did it because the way they introduced Jean Grey I think is fire. So when they make the X-Men movie, she already has a connection with Spider-Man, right? Like he pretty much saved her or whatever. So I think that would be an ill way for like if they eventually. I'm sure the first X-Men movie is not gonna have a Spider-Man cameo. I mean, it can. That'd be fire, but I don't know if they'll do that. But I'm sure like down the line there'll be like an X-Men Spider-Man team up type thing, kind of like the Super Nintendo game they had like in the 90s. That'd be fire. Or like in the animated series, you know what I'm saying? That was like a big team up episode. Like, oh my God, it's X-Men, it's Spider-Man. That would be ill for them to eventually do like down the line or whatnot. But it's interesting now because the next movie in the Marvel timeline is Doomsday, and this is like, you know, apparently at the end of the movie all the universe is gonna crash into one and Doom is gonna make Battleworld. So the Secret Wars movie, I wonder how that looks, because what I'm thinking, this is me as a goddamn not conspiracy theorist, but this is what I think they're gonna end up doing when they make Battleworld's still gonna kind of be, it's not gonna be how it is in the movie, like in the comics. I think it's gonna still kind of be grounded, or like it's still gonna feel like regular Earth, but everybody's in the same universe now. Like Doom is gonna have, I think Doom is gonna turn the good guys and the bad guys, like the Prime Avengers. I think they're gonna end up all losing and joining Doom, like being controlled by Doom. I think like I think Tom Holland's character is gonna survive, and what I think is like, because they're saying something along the lines of like New York is gonna become Spider Island, quote unquote, right? So I believe that what they wanted to do with Null, the god of the symbiotes, and all this type of stuff, I hope they implement those story beats in Secret Wars. So whenever they have to deal with the Spider-Man characters and everything that's going on with them, I hope that they take advantage of like that, all the spider movies and the ones that were trash and this and third, and take those characters and put them all in there and kind of give them they goodbyes and they justice, and actually use Null, because this way you can introduce Tom Hardy's Venom and use Spider-Man. So anyways, I hope they do all that shit. But Brand New Day was fucking amazing. So I'm not gonna hold you. I'm really excited to see what they do next. Now I'm more hyped for Doomsday and shit. Doomsday come out August, September, like in 4 months, bruh. It's gonna be crazy, bruh. 2027 is about to be fire. It's about to be motherfucking fire. Anyways, I'm gonna keep this podcast a little short today because I got some stuff that I actually got to do. And I wanted to gear this episode towards Spider-Man Brand New Day, so I just thought it was pretty dope. First and foremost, anyone that's been tapped in, fucking with me in any capacity, listening to the pod, listening to music or whatever, I just want to say thank you again. I'm completely in gratitude and grateful that people have taken the time out to fuck with me in any capacity. And again, I'm just doing my best to, be somebody. So I can't wait to, holler at y'all next week, and hopefully I can get y'all more depth of different. I'll be able to talk about X-Men 97 and and go into a little detail more into Doomsday and shit like that, and just whatever dope shit come out, I decide to talk about, whatnot. But again, I just want to say I appreciate y'all. Y'all stay blessed, highly favored, say high vibrations, all that good shit. Peace.